Hey, dude, how's it going? Hello. Sick. Yeah, I was playing, what was I playing? Dark Souls 1 yesterday. Not the remastered, I just got the PC version, old style, the DS fix. Play some Doppelganger. I'm sure you're fine, Brandon. You're saying so you can feel worse about your guitar playing. I don't want that. I want everybody to play guitar and be happy about the guitar playing. Let's see. I'm in the wrong tuning for it. Let me go to standard tuning. I gotta hit my tuner real quick. I never tune my guitars. They just sit on my wall and they just almost never go to tune. It's pretty sweet. This one's a little bit flat, but I play standard mostly in Archspire. Yeah, it's mostly it's standard. Sometimes we do drop E, so drop E is pretty common. But I think that we're going to do a lot of stuff in drop E and drop A. So the low, so I'll play a drop A and a drop E, and that gives you really cool kind of octave shapes, which I think is kind of sweet. So I've got a tone without distortion or without delay. Maybe I don't. Oh. I'm gonna turn this up. Whoa. What series do I prefer? First and second. I think that so this it's weird because this guy is the first K series that I got. So I have 3 Kiesel guitars. The other one is this guy right there. There. So this one's the first one, and it's so awesome and just rad, and I love playing it. It's older. It's like 2 years old almost now, probably 2, maybe going on 3 years. And while it's super awesome, it's worn in different kind of ways. It's got stainless steel frets, so it doesn't wear too badly with the frets. But it's like comfortable, and I like it a lot. So that's cool. The new one has like more, not sterile, but just like less comfortable, less broken in. So it's sort of a hard comparison because it's not at the same point in the guitar's life to really be able to compare them directly. And I don't know, I've been playing this one a lot, so that one might start to wear but I think I'll probably still have this one playing, keeping it for playing live a lot. So I'm not sure. I like the look of that one a lot, but this one's so red. It's hard to compare. I don't know. I just like both. Whatever. A ghostly guy, that's me. I've got some stuff that I was going to try and work on here. That's fine. I have pale white skin. Yeah, I've got some stuff I wanted to work on here. Some stuff from Troy Grady's Masters of Mechanics. So I was going to try and go through some of it, but I'm not sure. I don't know if you guys have any suggestions for stuff that you want to see or questions you have for technique. If you do, put them in the comments. Otherwise, I'll just keep going through some of this kind of stuff. This list of tabs that I have, Claire's great, yeah. This list of tabs that I have has a bunch of crazy names. So we'll see. I think that I've gone through some of this. I'm going to turn that down. That one sounds so crazy. The Acriosa solo? No, I haven't. No. I don't have any official tabs. I do have some tips. Beauty face? That's weird. I don't have any official tabs. We're always trying to work towards a tab book, but oh man, it takes so long. And we don't write with Guitar Pro. We write all jamming in one jam spot. So we have to go back and tab it all out, which doesn't take too long, but for each song. But to have 3 people tabbing all their stuff out and then put them all together in one tab is sort of hard to coordinate, and we just haven't really gotten there yet. So, upward pick slanting. Hey, somebody's talking about upward pick slanting. It feels best for me to play with upward pick slanting, so it's easier to start some runs with an upstroke. To use, yeah, sure. That's definitely not a bad habit. Oh man! So if anybody doesn't know, downward pick slanting would look kind of like this. So if you're savvy with this kind of stuff, Troy Grady is probably the guy who taught it to you, or some people that listen to him, but he's like the dude that kind of, as far as I could tell, really pioneered this kind of stuff. So downward pick slanting is anytime you can sort of see this guy here, this big empty spot, for the most part anyway, with my guitar playing. So that's great for 4-note per string runs. As soon as I went fast, I totally got rid of that shape, so let me try one more time. Well, suffice to say, it tightens up, and I have some sort of like just different looking right-hand shapes when I go quite that fast. But suffice to say, I am still holding up my pick at a downward angle like this. We're not talking about slanting forward or slanting backwards. We're only talking about holding it down. So think about it like this. Your pick, if it starts off perpendicular to the guitar body, your guitar body is flat, and the pick is sticking directly out. So if that's how you play, then the pick trajectory goes down, up, and it goes directly between these 2 strings. So I'm picking the low E string, going down, touching the D string, going up, touching the B string. So that would be not the most efficient way to play for the most part, because you have no exit out of the strings. So as soon as you take that and you dip it here, when we go down, we're inside the strings. When we go up, we're outside the strings, ready to change strings. So the thing that Trolls, oh, that's an interesting name. Sorry, Mr. Jacobson. He's saying that he's starting with upward pick slanting. So you're talking about starting runs with an upstroke. I do that all the time. I think that's really interesting. One thing that you guys are going to find as you probably get further and further along in your guitar playing kind of career is that you're going to get really bored with the sound of your guitar playing, or at least I have a lot of the time, and you need to spice it up. And the thing that some people say, they go, okay, well, I'm not really a technique guy. What I'm into is composition or whatever. But you're only ever composing on the instrument that you play, or unless you're doing Guitar Pro or something like that, which is totally an instrument on its own. So if you can change the way that you sort of instinctively play stuff, so like somebody's saying they start with an upstroke a lot of the time, that gives you new sounding arpeggios. So that one's starting with an upstroke. You can start with a downstroke, but it has a different feel. And a lot of the times it gives you a different sound. So a lot of the times when you add a new, what were my tips for Lucid Collective? Just one second. When you add a new technique to your guitar playing, you'll find yourself playing new stuff, new sounding things, and you're going to grow as a composer, which is cool. Tips for Lucid Collective. So it depends. So you're talking about the song. Don't call it cops. If you're talking about the song, specifically Lucid Collective Sound and Emulation, that song has a couple parts where it has this sweep in it. So a riff specifically. So the thing about that sweep is that it's a root position minor chord. So you can think about it like your E minor shape. If anybody here is familiar with Cage method. Cage method is anytime you have your open chord shapes. So you can do E minor, E, A minor, A, all D minor and D, all those kinds of shapes. And you can take those shapes and you move them up. So as soon as you move them up, it becomes a bar chord. You have your standard minor 6-string bar chord. So yeah, all those Bandcamp packs, there's a few of them that have that sweep in there. So this chord can be truncated, so we can take off the root. If we take off the root, it becomes a second inversion minor chord. We take out the 5, and it becomes a root position minor chord again, because guitar is all wacky. All right, talk to you later, Ring. Guitar's all wacky, so we have our ring finger playing our root. So this sweep starts off root, minor 3, 5, octave, ends on 3 again. Minor 3. You need to do a lot of index finger barring. And a lot of the stuff, so specifically this sweep is one of those sweeps that I use a lot because you can play it really, really fast. I'm not playing a lot of dexterous sort of movement around. What I'm doing is I'm simplifying the arpeggio so that I can get from one spot to another as fast as possible. And you can see actually when I'm playing this arpeggio, so when I play that arpeggio, that sweep, I'm actually spinning my wrist, and the whole wrist spinning allows me to get my pinky finger directly above the fret that I'm trying to go for. So this pinky finger here, it does sound like Origin, yeah. Laser sweeps. Laser sweeps, let's see. So that kind of thing, so that would be only descending. That's a tough thing too. Yes, it sounds pretty cool. The cool thing, I'll draw my pick. The cool thing is that on guitar, I find that when I'm composing stuff like this, so we have like sweep arpeggios. Some people might think, okay, well, I'm going to write a sweep arpeggio section. I'm going to make it complex and crazy. But the cool thing is that when you take a simple idea and you add a single chord extension to it, then you get really, like a really, let's see, the sound you get is, it has a tonality, so it's either major or minor or dominant or diminished or, sorry, the triad would be major, minor, diminished, or augmented. So it has that sort of tonality. And then if you add then one extension, then you get sort of like just a slight flavor. And it's really like a, it's most, like the most direct to just this specific sound. Because as soon as you start adding more and more notes, sometimes it muddles up sort of the initial kind of thing. And flavorful, yeah, exactly. So we want a specific flavor, so we'll add a minor. No, the thing in Lucid is not only down sweeping; it's both ways. And a lot of the times I'll actually double this low string. That allows me to go past it and then play it again. And because I'm playing so fast, I mean, you probably can't hear it, you know. So that's one of the things about that sweep, is that because I'm doubling that downstroke, or doubling the lowest string as well, I'm probably doubling the highest string too. I think I'm actually doing a pull off in there as well. What you could do as well is you could do down, 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 up, down, up, 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 down. So we'll actually double. So we'll play something kind of like this. We have a sweep, and we'll double that highest note as well. But the flattest trajectory for your picks, the tip of your pick, is kind of the thing that I would suggest. So you want absolutely this. I don't do a lot of this, or whatever this might be, circle stuff, a lot of down up. We want the shortest amount of room travel. That's basically what we want. So even when you mute your strings, you should be able to hear like a constant clicking for every string, and they should be about as hard as you can play. And actually, a lot of times, the harder you pick a sweep arpeggio like that, the more intense and the more like abrasive and accurate it's going to sound. Because if you add that sort of clicking from the pick, it's going to make it sound, in my opinion, it sounds kind of cool. That kind of thing. So then, of course, we can even take let's see. So we could do a major version as well. So we could do those kinds of shapes. What's cool is that those 4-string shapes, a lot of the times are, like I said, your truncated E open chord shape. So if you know anything about Cage method, we're taking our E shape and we're making it minor and we're moving it around. We could then make it major. We can make it diminished. We can make it dominant. We can make it anything that you want, and you'll find you get some cool kind of shapes like that. There's a new album plan. Yeah. We're writing for a new album, but it's gonna take a long time. We're writing every weekend. We all get together and jam in a room. So we're trying to write some stuff. What do I have that's off that album? I have one riff that I could probably show you. So there's a new riff. It's kind of similar to when you think about chord structure, you could probably map that to like a harmonic minor kind of thing, if you guys are savvy with that kind of stuff. Yeah, no problem. No problem, Nathan. Please don't cry. We can take this. So I'm in drop A. What I like about that arpeggio is that it's it's definitely neoclassical, super neoclassical. We have lots of chord movement, which I think is super cool. There's so much awesome death metal, and my favorite death metal is the ones that, hey Ian, has like the most chord movement. So we're actually moving full chords and that kind of stuff. Yeah, we don't really use Guitar Pro. I mean, like we do when it comes to tabbing stuff out for reference, but we never write with Guitar Pro. The closest, I tuned down without changing my string range. Yeah, I'm playing a 60 on here. It sounds fine for drop A. I might adjust for something else, but we use Guitar Pro for sending ideas back and forth after we've written them, but we generally write them inside just our jam spot and that kind of stuff. Toby wrote that riff. Toby's the guy. Yeah, so that arpeggio section is kind of cool. If you want to boil it down to, there's the root. So you might think about it like. So there's lots of, never heard of ad nauseum, no. There's lots of harmonic minor chord movement in there, if you guys are familiar with the modes of harmonic minor. So the modes of the major scale: Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian. So if you want to give yourself an idea of what the I'm playing Ernie Ball 10 to 46, and then a 60, and then a 74. I don't like the 10 to 74 set that Ernie Ball puts out. It felt weird. I put it on, I didn't like it. Here, there you go, Daniel. Oh, cool. Yeah, Gorguts and all three. Yeah. If you guys are familiar with the modes of the major scale, then taking the modes of harmonic minor, we can just start on the 6. So we start with Aeolian, and we sharp the 7. So Aeolian sharp 7, Aeolian sharp 7. Yeah, cool. Locrian sharp 6, Ionian sharp 5, Dorian sharp 4, Lydian sharp 3. Where is it? Phrygian sharp 3, Lydian sharp 2, and then alter double flat 7. Just one question about the sweep picking. Do you stop notes from rigging out, barring, or do you go fast? You know, Nathan, there is a lot of stuff that doesn't matter when you play that fast. So you're totally right. Okay, so when I'm playing like a regular sweep, I might do. I'm actually mostly. Yeah, I'm probably not going to do too much spawn of possession stuff. That seems like maybe not in the spirit of the video series. I'd like to pick a specific section of something that's very virtuosic. With them, it's a lot of harmonized parts, and me learning 2 sections in one video might take too long. So and I have tried learning some spawn of possession stuff in the way in the past, and it doesn't sound the same unless I have 2 guitars. So I really need 2 guitars, and I feel like maybe it wouldn't be the right kind of thing. So probably not. Maybe a solo that they did. I'm not sure, but yeah, they're really crazy. They're one of my favorite bands for sure. When it comes to sweeping and muting notes, oftentimes I'll mute with my right hand and my forearm and that kind of stuff. And you can see as my right hand goes down, so it'll actually follow. I'm not doing this kind of sweeping, so I'm not changing the pitch at which my pick attacks the string. I'm only taking my pick and pushing it and pulling it across the strings this way. This is something I talk a lot about in my lessons, is that when you think about your right hand, you have to think about it like a tool. And so how many different things can you do with that tool? And my advice is to keep it as similar as possible for the most amount of time that you're playing guitar. So you're playing all these different techniques. You're playing hybrid picking. You're playing economy picking. You're playing alternate picking. You're doing some sweeping. You're doing even some tapping. Kind of looks the same. If you are picking the same spot. So we want to keep the same kind of looking tool. So we have the most amount of hours underneath that tool. So we put all these hours under playing with that tool, and that'll make you better generally on guitar. So that's one of the things about muting. You should always mute pretty similarly as well, so that we're really good at it. My right hand palm, this part right here, will actually follow each one of the strings after I play it, so that it mutes it. I'm also lifting up, and I'm doing a lot of barring and doing this kind of thing. So let's say for this simple sweep purpose right here, as I switch back and forth, and I do this, I'm not the new Ron Jarosbek. No, that guy's way too crazy. Not a bad thing. He's amazing. One of my favorite guitar players. The index finger switches back and forth like this, and that allows me to sort of roll a little bit easier. I'm not doing too much of this motion where you go in and out. I'm doing a lot of sort of, basically what I'm doing is I'm splitting the workload over multiple muscle groups. So I'm not just pushing and pulling, I'm also spinning, and that sort of helps me get that that muting and stuff like that. How do you compose Archspire or any tech death song? I guess it depends on what kind of music you're listening to and what kind of music you want to make. So I mean, with us, we want to play mostly in the eighth note equals 280 to eighth note equals 350 BPM kind of range. So I play to a click. So I'll just write to a click or write to a click in the jam spot. Drums help me really find a cool rhythm and a cool, it definitely helps you get stoked about an idea. So having really loud triggers and stuff like that. And we always play with in-ear monitors so we can hear each other pretty well. So that's one thing. Playing with musicians that you think are really good, which I do. No clean vocals. Never any clean vocals. Never expect any clean vocals. Ever from us. Never. Nothing against them, but we're just never going to do. So that's going to be a big thing. It's just playing musicians that you really like and that are really good and that push you to get better. Let's see. Thanks, very nice Shredder guy. Thank you very much. You're learning this solo in Overture 1928. Hey, sweet. Yeah, that one's a badass solo. Yeah, I should do some more Petrucci stuff. Let's see. Very nice Shredder guy. Thank you. No problem, Nathan. Hello, Zoomer Gaming. Do you think extended practice routine, like 4+ hours, are beneficial for getting better? Yes. Your hands get strained too much. I mean, I guess it depends on what you're playing. So if one of the things that I tell almost all my students is that they should start teaching as soon as they get a chance, because teaching allows you to look at your instrument in a new way. So you're describing. Hey Stein, how's it going, man? It's been a while. One of the things that you're allowing yourself to describe the instrument that you're playing in a new way that maybe you didn't realize. So I think it was Carl Sagan that said if you can't explain something to a child, then you don't fully understand it yourself or something like that. I think he used to go into the physics rooms of whichever university he worked at and got the physics professors to explain to him in the absolute simplest terms really complex concepts. And if he, Zoomer Gaming, what's up? Shout out. And if he couldn't understand it or if they couldn't explain it properly, then he would say that they didn't understand it. I think that's right. I should write a song in major. Yeah, probably not. So that's one thing. It's going to help you spend time on the guitar, and then you're learning how to sort of explain things in a different way, and you're not maybe spending some of your practice time. So you're sitting there with the guitar in your lap still, but your practice time might include as well teaching a little bit and then learning more about the instrument yourself. So cheers from Brazil. Hey, man. Hello from Brazil. Hello from Canada. Okay, so let's see. What else do I got here? I got some 2-string arpeggio roll. Get out of here, Guitar Pro. I've got some stuff that I was planning on working on a little bit, but I'm willing to bet. It's a little bit too hard. This is all from Troy Grady's Masters of Mechanics interview with Marshall Harrison. If you guys don't know Marshall Harrison, holy shit. He's amazing. Amazing guitar player. Oh my god, that one's hard. This one's cool. Oh my god, that one's tough. That one's gonna take a while. Cheers from Spain. What's up, dude? On one hand, I want to have a practice routine. On the other, there's Tom. Yeah, I don't have a practice routine. Still playing. I don't have a practice routine. I also don't have a practice routine in the fact that I play a lot of guitar, but I don't necessarily specifically plan it out. One thing that you need to remember is that your brain needs a break too from the instrument sometimes. So I find that sometimes when I really want to play video games, I'll play video games a whole bunch in a week. And I'm not going to worry too much about me losing practice on guitar. I still teach all the time. But that's the thing. I mean, you have to want to do it. So sometimes when you're setting up a practice routine or whatever, and you're like, man, I want to play guitar, but I'd rather do these other things. Like, trust your brain and just kind of go where you kind of want to go. And if that leads you to playing less guitar in a few days or a week, then maybe that's a good thing. Maybe your brain's on overload from guitar. So you don't necessarily always have to play guitar all the time. PC. Do you have any tips for practicing memorizing modes and chords associated with them? Hey, Jake. Hey, I just talked to you. Yeah, I mean, I guess. Okay, real quick. How often long do you practice? Let's see. I'll practice a couple hours a day, probably. At least a couple. I'll also be teaching for a few hours. I teach privately 3-4 days a week. I teach at a music school 2 days a week. So I'm usually playing for about 5 hours a day. Maybe 2 of those hours of practice, 3 of those hours of practice, maybe more. But yeah, it kind of depends on the day. Some days I'll just play for like 4 or 5 hours straight. But yeah, hope you see you in Mexico one more. Yeah, we really want to go back to Mexico soon. That'd be sweet. Yeah, I mean, like, so the modes of the major scale is probably going to be boring for a lot of people. That's cool. It's not boring for me. You need to take all the modes, all your major modes, all your minor modes, and then your diminished mode, and you have to really, you have to categorize them and then understand what they're different. So all your major modes, Ionian is the benchmark for your major modes. Aeolian is your benchmark for your minor modes. Those are your relative major and minor key. So 1 and 6. Your major modes, Ionian is number 1. Lydian is mode 4. So Lydian is your major scale with a sharp 4. Mixolydian is your major scale with a flat 7. So that's only one step away each. And then from the original mode that you're comparing it against, because Ionian is a mode just like anything else. It's just a pitch collection that for some reason people like. There's actually some literature that has an argument that Lydian should have been our major mode, which is kind of funny. Lydian is one of the modes that doesn't have an avoid note, which is, sorry, 1 second. So yeah, Lydian doesn't have an avoid note. An avoid note is basically a note in a scale or a mode that is 1 semitone above a chord tone. So Ionian has an avoid note. It's the 4, perfect fourth. So that means when you play a major chord and you play that 4, it goes and it adds a lot of tension. So so that's one argument against maybe having Lydian as your major mode rather than Ionian, but generally it's better bet anyway, because in Ionian our 5 chord is your dominant chord, and dominant to tonic resolutions sound great. Our ears like them a lot. I think one of the reasons why is because of the order of harmonic importance, which tells us that after the octave in our harmonic series, the overtone series, the perfect fifth is the next most important one. So in French, I don't know French. I'm a bad Canadian. So yeah. Anyway, so categorizing major, minor, diminished, and just I found myself just walking along the street, just going Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian. Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian, just over and over and over again. Almost make I do not speak French. What else every time? I don't know if you can translate quite as quickly as what I'm saying. I don't know. Maybe you're probably a pretty good translator. Is it mandatory to have a nose piercing if you play metal, or just preference? It's mandatory. Every time I go to Quebec, I want to learn French, but maybe I'll go there. Maybe I'll live there one day. That'd be kind of cool. Anyway, categorizing modes, major, minor, diminished, and just repeating them over and over again. Yes, nice shirt. Oceano's a sick band. It was a band that I was not into because I never heard them until we toured them recently. And then I saw them live, and they're one of the craziest, heaviest live bands I've ever seen in my entire life. And I tried to watch them every single night. And, I go back to the album. I like the album, but live, there's just something about that band that's just unreal heavy. So plus they're sick dudes. So. How often do I practice Archspire songs? I don't really practice Archspire songs except when we're on tour and when we're rehearsing for a tour, and that's it. So yeah, I mean, by this point, unless oftentimes there will be parts where I forget a section. So I'll forget something, and I'll go to play it at rehearsal, and I'll be like, oh, what is this? And it'll take me a day or two. But the thing about that is I usually try to trust my muscle memory. So when I trust my muscle memory, oftentimes it's kind of scary to just go, I don't remember where the next part is, but I'm just going to go ahead and hope that my body's going to go to the right spot. And it almost always does. Sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it's in front of, 500 people, but whatever, who cares? They can fuck themselves. I mean, it's only a few notes. I mean, someone's going to hear some wrong notes or whatever, So I'll just avoid that as much as possible. But every once in a while, I'll play a series of wrong notes and live, and I'll just try to laugh about it because it's kind of funny. But other than that, no, I just practice mostly just in the jam spot while we're rehearsing for a tour, and then on tour. Does the 8-string good ear training exercise? Yeah, I mean, a lot of the things that when people run through scales, yeah, give up sex. The thing about when we're running through scale patterns, what we need to start doing as guitar players is instead of playing as many notes as possible, we need to figure where the root, where the octave of the root is in each one of the positions, so that when we go up to those notes, our ears know that that's the root. Because here's one thing that I practiced for a long time when I was young. Okay, so what I just did was I started with Aeolian, and I went up and I played a 3-note progression, a 3-note per string run, and I'm doubling a couple notes every once in a while just because of the major third gap between the third and second string. But hey, I'm just playing 3 notes per string. But on the highest string, I'm actually going past the root, so we're playing C sharp minor, C sharp natural minor, or D flat natural minor. When I hit that D flat at the top, I actually go past it by 2 scale degrees. If anybody here is familiar with the modes of the major scale, if I'm playing Aeolian and then I go up 2 scale degrees, I get Ionian. So what I'm doing here when I'm when we go up the scale degree and I go past the octave of the root, I'm just teaching my ear that I'm playing a major scale, because that's how my ears hear it. Because the major scale is more important than the minor scale to us, as told by the order of harmonic importance in the overtone series. So I'm hearing a major scale, so my ear gets confused. So that's gonna change the way that I practice. So a big thing, hey, from Ukraine, that's sweet. The big thing is when you're practicing scales, know where your roots are so that you can stop on those roots. So you can teach your brain, teach your ears what the root note of that is, so that you can really get to know the sound of that scale. So that's a big thing. It's just when you're practicing, know what you're playing, and that's going to help you a lot. Let's see. Does the 8-string pose any hindrances compared to a regular 6-string? No. Sometimes it makes me feel like I should be using this string, and then I don't, and then I feel kind of dumb. But other than that, no. Yeah, I went through the Lucid Collective sweeps earlier, but here they are again. Oh, I'm in drop A now. Anyway, so that guy is, let's say, fret-wise, 16, 14, 14, 14, 17, and then back down. Anyway, there's probably not going to be a lot of simple, heavy breakdowns on the next album. We're definitely going to try to stay tech, but the thing is, we also change the things that we like with music. So, I mean, it's not going to be a deathcore album. It won't be a breakdown album, but maybe it'll be a little bit different. Probably not. It'll just be fast ethanol. Speaking about cadences and chord resolutions like 5-1, in songs like Remote Tumor Seeker, some of the classical harmony was used was some of that used, or more modern harmony was used, classical stuff. Let's see. I actually don't even know what that main riff is. It's all harmonic minor, so it could be 5/1 in a minor key. So that's one. Kind of your question, I guess. Yes, it's. I mean, it's more classical kind of stuff. That main riff, anyway. Okay. That's all basically harmonic minor. What do you think about tonicizing other keys like the parallel minor? Using collected something like that, and harmonic diminished chords together, or maybe I heard that wrong. Yeah, I mean, like one thing that we're doing. Yeah, don't play guitar while you're having sex. That sounds weird. One thing that we're doing similarly is chromatic medians. So we had a riff recently. What was it? Sweeps for it would be like. So that would be an example of two minor keys separated by major third, I think. What was it? Yeah, two minor keys separated by major third. So that would be something kind of similar to that, I guess. Not much in the way of parallel minor. There is one section where we go from harmonic major to harmonic minor, kind of similar. Singing notes while playing definitely helps. I sing notes while I play all the time, especially in lessons. It's a big thing. Sports. I don't really do much sports. I like MMA, but I don't do it. I don't know any Dan Mongrain. I wish. It's amazing. Favorite non-metal guitar players? Let's see. Guthrie Govan. I think actually almost every one of my favorite guitar players is non-metal. I mean, everybody kind of has that kind of, high distortion kind of sound too, but not necessarily playing in like metal bands and stuff like that. Yeah, Guthrie Govan, Steve Vai, isn't really metal, sort of. Yeah. Let's see. John Williams playing the Bach lead suites. Amazing. Melodic minor sounds. Yeah, we do lots of melodic minor stuff. There's, let's see. So this would be you could consider this maybe 1, a 3, a 5, flat 6. Could be Mixolydian flat 6. So that would be part of melodic minor. So that could be in melodic minor. There's some melodic minor stuff. I played some. That guy has some melodic minor in there. Yeah. Give me tips for playing while standing versus sitting. Yeah, I mean, like, I probably play standing up almost the same angle that I play sitting down. I also play with like one of these little footstool guys here. Almost always on my right leg. I play folk style, so it's not classical style on my left leg, but it's all on my right leg. Keep it as parallel as possible here. A little bit up at the end, but that's about it. I find that just makes the most sense, so that's me. Jason Richardson is amazing. He's awesome. I'm not really a super big fan of that solo album that he put out. I like it, but it's not like It's not like every song is blowing me away. Technique-wise, it is, but I really like the stuff that he's come up with in the last 3 things on Spotify that he put out. So the 2 Lindsey Stirling covers, and then the Tendonitis, which I started learning, and I failed. I'll come back to it. I filmed part of it, so yeah, I've heard of Sean Lane. Yeah, he's crazy. I've heard of him a long time ago. I never really checked him out too much, but I know about him. Something from Rapid Elemental Dissolve. Let's see. There you go. I forgot that one. Yeah, there's one of the ones that I forgot. Whoops. It's been a while. Do you need an 8th string to play that weird sweepy thing from a Dork Horizontal? Nope. You don't need an 8th string to play anything in that song, I don't think. You're talking about... Oh, man. You guys can all hear me blowing it here. Oh! Yeah, I gotta work on that one. Rap influences from our vocalist and all of us kind of liking Tech Nine, that kind of stuff. Ollie likes a lot more other rap, but yeah. I saved your wrist, Santa Maurice. Hungarian Minor is really cool. We haven't done much in Hungarian Minor. Hungarian Minor does sound cheeky. Weirdest thing I saw on the Japan tour. Oh man, Japan is so awesome. I want to live there. I'm not sure. We saw the Robot Restaurant, but we didn't get to go in. It was expensive, and we just didn't have time. I'd say the weirdest thing? I don't know. I saw so many weird things. It was awesome. Yeah, I think we played 5 songs in the European tour. But yeah, we'll be back in Europe at the end of this year. Hello, Maxi G. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, I'm going to try and do more Dean Stencil. Who wrote the intro to Human Murmuration? I mean, it's a pretty simple thing. I think I wrote it, but yeah, I mean, like, it's just a cool kind of triplet kind of augmented to major, which is funny. Somebody previously said we write something in major. There you go. It sounds really alien. Yeah, it's the augmented stuff. Anything augmented. Anybody here that's trying to come up with something new and cool and has a little bit of an idea of what harmonic minor is, that kind of stuff. What you should try is doing. Let's see. So we'll do the tonic triad. So just like the say if we're in E. So we could do 1 flat 3 5. We could do a triple thing like that. Try putting on the flat 2 of that triad, doing a major triad. That's something I'm still kind of working on. I take care of my glorious beard by washing it every day. Hungarian minor modes are cool, but kind of out there for me. Greetings from Russia. Hey, dude. Yeah, Keith Mero's there. Yeah, I saw some pictures. Yeah, I would love to go there. The Mimikwell, yeah, that's a cool song. Emotional Edge. Yeah, I'll do more cowbell next time. That's a good idea. Sure, more cowbell. I haven't heard the entire new album. No, not yet. Maybe I will. I haven't, yeah. I'm not sure what Toby uses, but I think Toby probably uses a pretty similar gauge to me. Regular lights. Ernie Ball. We're all using Ernie Ball strings now, so. probably the regular lights. He might use a hybrid set or like a weirdo custom set, like a 9.5 gauge. I know he was messing around from that. Dark Matter Secrets, yeah. Danny Tunker is amazing. I love that guy. He's a great guitar player, great guy, great hair. He's funny. Love him. But yeah. The Augmented kind of sounds really alien. So that would be all hybrid picking. You don't necessarily need to hybrid pick it, but I found it gives it a really nice, even kind of sound. It's got good note separation. The reason being is because you're taking everything on. You're doing basically what's called planting in classical guitar. So anytime you're playing classical guitar and you roll stuff off, you plant your fingers on, you can roll stuff off. So I'm planting and then rolling, planting, rolling, planting, rolling, planting, rolling. What that does also is because my tonic note is here, so it goes. We basically have note, 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 and then at the end of the last note, mutes, and then we start again. So it puts a lot of emphasis on that tonic note, which is kind of cool. What is my practice routine? I used to have a better practice routine. Like I said earlier, I don't really now. I just work on whatever I want. If I have a technique that I find that I suck at, then I'll work on it, and I'll just work on it. And the thing about it too is, like I said earlier, I teach quite a bit, so oftentimes I'll find myself at work teaching somebody how to play, I don't know, a song from SpongeBob SquarePants or something like that, which I'm super into. So that kind of stuff. So we're playing SpongeBob or something like that. I find myself, as they're sort of learning, I'll just be practicing really slowly, trying to keep my left hand and just watching them play, still being a sort of attentive teacher, but just focusing on my own kind of thing because I can kind of multitask at that point. So big exercise that I'm doing and I've done for a long time is this sort of chromatic kind of exercise. We're going on 5, 6, 7, 8 on the low E string. As we play each note, we'll leave our finger there. And then as we move on, we'll only move each finger off the string as we need to. The tendency is to do this. Lots of movement. We don't need to do that much movement. We could just do this. And then it looks like a weirdo spider going across the fretboard. And that'll help you sort of get your fingers lower down to the strings, which is a big thing. The Mimico lead, which I actually don't even play any leads in that song, so I'm not sure. In terms of writing, do you write a riff with all these vocals in mind? Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes he'll come in and he'll be like, oh, I listened to this Juicy J song, and he has this really cool like did it, and then we'll take that, we'll write something around it. Those are some of our most interesting sections, is because they're written with a totally different thing in mind, which is kind of cool. Flamenco is amazing. Segovia, well, not Segovia. Who's like the dude? Who's like the flamenco guy? Paco de Lucia. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. One of the craziest guitar players I've ever seen video of. Absolutely amazing. Turning Point. Well, this pot is old. Turning Point while learning to perform your sweeps so smoothly. I've been grinding it with a metronome forever, but maybe I'm just too ambitious with arpeggio length. Yeah, I mean, like, hey, Exocrine. Hey, man, what's going on? Yeah, I mean, I'd say 10 years ago, I started learning Jason Becker's Serena arpeggios, and that was probably the thing that pushed me to get better. But I mean, I sucked for a long time. I wasn't good when I first learned it. I sucked when I first learned it. So, yeah, I'm just gonna change guitars so you guys get to see my other guitar as well. Oh, whoops. What's the point of having a guitar unless you can be rough with the guitar and hit it on the music stand that's holding up your laptop as you put it away? You know? What's the point of having that unless you can do that? I switched between pickups for both lead and lead. Yeah. Oh man, switching pickups is the best. You gotta do it, especially when you have in-ears and you can hear your guitar super clearly. You'll hear all the differences. So yeah, I mean, just work on it. Make it part of your practice routine. Switch back and forth. One thing that maybe some of you guys haven't worked on, and it's something I've just only relatively started working on, adding vowel sounds to make our guitar sound more like a vocalist. So one of the things that guitar music lacks is the ability to relate to the listener just like a vocalist can. So a singer can relate through lyrics. Guitar player can relate to through melody. A singer can also relate through melody. But one of the things that the human voice does, it has a lot of different vowel sounds. We have like wah, all these sort of open and closed, and that's something that just our ears really like, and we find ourselves just drawn to it, and that's why a lot of people. That's why when you go to Jeff Loomis's Spotify, the most listened to song on a Spotify by 1 million listens is not the shreddiest song, but it's a song with clean vocals on it. So what we can do is use our pickup selector as a bit of a wah pedal almost. So we can change our vowel sound. That kind of thing. So that's one thing to work on. It also gets you more comfortable, and you have to spend more money because you keep wearing out switches all the time. So that sucks. I've been doing chromatic exercise. Yeah, that chromatic exercise is sick. What time is it? It's 2:20 here, 2:20 p.m. I have a lesson at 4. Must go soon. Yeah, Van Halen Russian. Yeah, I haven't played that for a long time. I used to know how to play some of it, but Van Halen he does lots of wrist picking, which is not something I'm good at. Or not something I practiced anyway. I shouldn't say not something I'm good at. I probably could be good at it, just like any of you guys could be good at anything you practice, but I just haven't practiced it. That's the thing. There's a shred run in Calamus when I made 2. I don't know if this will go out or not, but it sounds really odd. Really odd. I'm not sure exactly. Around the beginning. I don't know. Around the beginning. No, this. Oh! That one's really cool. That one's tough. Up and down across the strings. I'm not sure exactly which one you're talking about. I have to. If you give me a timestamp, we'll check it out. You're on your hero. Oh, hey, thanks, Nate. Natas, and whatever the thing with the metal thing is. Relationship like with Kiesel Guitars. Kiesel Guitars is the best company I've ever worked with as an endorsed artist. Hands down, by far. They're amazing. Ollie writes all of our lyrics. Hey, it's 420. It doesn't really matter to me either way. Lucid Collective Sound Emulation, yes. The whole time, oh, that. Oh, there you go. You got scary name, Zenovius, which I believe is from Max for trying to play that. An unpronounceable name to me. Yeah, that whole tone kind of run. Yeah, 102. Yeah, that would be a whole tone run. Apparently, I need some work on the descending. If you listen closely to a lot of our music, you'll find a lot of that whole tone run in there because I love it. I love whole tone stuff. Actually, there's even a riff in the song Seven Crowns and the Oblivion Chain. Let's see. It's all whole tone. there any way to get accurate tabs of your music? Not yet. Necrophagus song. I can't really play too much Necrophagus, but I'd say the entire Epitaph album as a whole is my favorite Necrophagus song. It's an odd run. That's right. The whole tone is pretty sweet. It kind of hurts, but hey. What's the deal with All Shall Lie not being available on Spotify anymore? Haha. Yes. We've had that question. Yeah, we took it off. It was put up on there by the label that put it out in 2011. And he's been making royalties off of that, and we haven't at all for the last however long that was, 7 years. We've actually almost never made any royalties off that album, and we've had that label, the owner of that label, sell the album to people and not send it to them, stealing people's money. So we decided to take it off. We've severed business ties with him for a long time, but now we're 100% totally severed. He has no control over our music. So now we're just taking our time and thinking maybe what else we can do with it. Maybe we'll put out a new re-release. Yeah, the Toronto show. Yeah, I got really bummed too. What a bummer that was. Yeah, the Toronto show just didn't happen. We want to come back. We want to really come back in at the end of July, but we're not sure yet. Let's see. Hello from Colombia. Very good. Yeah, 7 from Necrophagus is sweet. Troy Grady changed my guitar playing. So yes, Tricera Prod. Changed my guitar playing. I've been watching his videos for the last 3 years. He's amazing. Any tips for the fast sweeps? So anybody's been watching for the last hour? I've done this. Now this is the 3rd time. That's fine. So I'll play roll solo. Fret-wise, you might be able to think 16, 14, 14, 14, 17. Pull off probably to 14, 14, 14, 16. Pick this note twice. Hey, from Spain. There you go. All Shall Lie on CD. You'll never sell it. Yeah, I've seen it on eBay for pretty expensive. Headlining tour in Canada. I think so, yeah. We're going to try and do one in June. We're waiting for some stuff, I think. We're not totally sure yet. It's been it's a busy time of year to book a tour, so we're trying to do it. And I think we have a pretty crazy tour package lined up as well, but it's tough. Yeah. Right. Yeah. If anybody here wants to find some right-hand technique information, go to Troy Grady. First Fragment. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned them. All right. I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for the last hour, whoever did and whoever just joined. Sorry. I'll try to do this every week. It'd be sweet. If you guys are looking for anything new to learn, I put up tab packages on deanlam.bandcamp.com. Yeah, so thanks, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.